What's good, world? This is your man Wood, sitting in the airport in Phoenix. After Pedraza, well, he was the winner, but after uh, Beltran-Pedraza and Dogboe-Otake, and then also Mayor and Kiss, the uh, the card tonight at Gila River Arena. Man, I just had the most um, gone to November moment in my life. It's nobody in here. It's like everything is locked up. It's a couple of people sleeping in the concourse and whatnot. And this is one of those savage trips with no hotel room, kind of trying to keep everything clean. Cheap in and out. But I did get to hang out with family tonight on my bite down boxing team with Eric Duran. He was with me in media row, and then also spent some time with um, man, his name is totally escaping me. 3 point conversions, Damian Adams, the real deal with Damian Adams. So it was good to link up with those guys. The show was phenomenal. About 4,500 people showed up to support, mainly to support Beltran, but just to support a great night of fights for Top Rank on ESPN. And really quickly, down on the card, looking at the card right there. Um, this Francisco Davaca kid, I think is how you pronounce his name. 8 rounds, featherweight against Jesus Serrano. They had a very entertaining fight with a lot of fireworks. Um, Looks like Davaca, I believe, is with Top Rank. He's from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. He moved to 19-0 with 6 knockouts. Entertaining fight. Very well fought bout. Serrano came up short, but he definitely landed his share of bombs. It was a phenomenal fight to watch live. Um, who else was on there that was great? The Robson, I don't even know how to say his last name, so I'm not gonna mess it up. Let's move to the main events. At the top of the card that made up ESPN the starting with Dogboe and Otake. I did not understand why Otake came out and tried to stay inside and get off his body work early on Dogboe. Maybe he thought, he had something going with his size and whatnot. Maybe he thought his power was going to be different. I do have a clip, a brief interview, if you want to call it that, with Dogboe. I'll probably try to put up tomorrow once I get back to Ohio. But Dogboe had a phenomenal appearance outing. I was sitting next to Gabe Rosado, and he was very impressed by this junior featherweight's power. I mean, he was moving Otake with his left hand early in the first round, and it kind of showed what kind of power the young man has, just his raw strength and everything. And then, he caught Otake with some shots that seemed to back Otake up and slow down like his fighting spirit that he started the fight with. And then, the 2 knockdowns came, and then at the 218 mark, it was over. From a phenomenal finishing sequence from young Dogboe. Not much to say there. The guy is serious. He's a problem, and it's Top Rank can go in a lot of different directions with that young man. Um, I won't get into what he told me. I'll just put the video out there sometime tomorrow. And then in the co-main event, or at least where it was the order that came into the fights, actually was Michaela Mayer moving down to 130 pounds to face Adina Kiss. Kiss was out of it from the first bell ringing. Mayer just stayed on her, just fighting, doing everything off of her jab. It was a pretty textbook performance, using her length. She was backing up Adina Kiss the whole time. Um, it was just a one-sided fight, as one-sided as it could be. There was a knockdown, I believe that came in the first. I don't have my notes up right now. That was one thing that was very disheartening tonight, was that the Wi-Fi signal was off and on all night. That was no reflection on Top Rank. It was a phenomenal show on their behalf, but the Wi-Fi signal was down, so everything that I wanted to do as far as getting up some real-time stuff and getting some articles up after fights, immediately after, all of that went to hell because there was no signal. And then by the end of the night, actually by the time the ESPN show came on, the Wi-Fi signal that they had given us for the media was gone altogether. It wouldn't even show up in my list of signals to choose from. So that was that. So yeah, but back to Mayer and Kiss, just a phenomenal performance from her. Very dominant, controlled action. She just punished the Kiss. Kiss really didn't. I think she fought. She threw like a overhand right that she might have caught, that she caught Mayer in the middle of a combination, and it was kind of a self-defense, reaction kind of punch. And that was probably the heaviest shot she landed throughout the bout. Other than that, she was in complete retreat the entire time until, having taken enough through the third round in the body shots that she was taking from Michaela. She decided to not answer the bell for the fourth round. So that moves Michaela to 7-0, earning her fourth knockout. Supposed to talk to Michaela later in the week. Try to get her on Bite Down Boxing on the next podcast. So we'll see if that happens. Phenomenal outing for her. I think it's an opportunity, with things moving forward, to bring to fruition Claressa Shields and Hammer, that unification fight at middleweight. That's going to be what it is, but with Cecilia Brækhus pulling out of Triple G and Canelo 2, or Canelo and Triple G 2, however you want to look at it. Mayer has a chance to make some noise. I mean, she has a platform with this being, this fight making it on to ESPN. So, and then with it ending in exciting fashion, I'm sure she'll be back around. Plus, there's some other positives about Michaela, former Olympian. Just team is solid. She's just a lot of options with her. We'll get back to that later on. And then let's move up to in the world title fight for the WBO lightweight, with Raymundo Beltran going up, or defending his title against Jose Pedraza. Pedraza kind of did what I thought he was going to do. I didn't get to do any of my pre-fight stuff this week because a lot of pre-fight, pre-event content that I was working on kind of fell apart. So, I just didn't get to some stuff, waiting around for people who didn't fulfill some promises and whatnot. But, Pedraza, I thought that he was the more talented fighter. He was coming up. That was his, third fight at lightweight. But I liked what I saw on him the last time out. The confidence looked like, he is just looked like him and his team have caught a second win and kind of rebranding himself and getting back on the world champion stage. I just liked what I was seeing with him. We all know Beltran's story, and we knew that he would fight a tough fight. But I just felt like Pedraza was a little bit longer, maybe even a little bit bigger, at least bigger looking, but more athletic, more agile. And I think the main thing was to see how the punching power was who's gonna win that battle. And for me, I still had some concerns that Beltran didn't cleanly win that last fight against Paulus, to become the WBO world champion. But anyway, Pedraza had some slower rounds in the mid rounds where he slowed down, and it seemed like he lost all pop on his shots, and then coming back, in the end of the fight, probably sweeping the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, getting the knockdown late on that short uppercut, left uppercut. Like I said, I thought that's what was gonna happen, and it was a great night. Like I said, I just wanted to get some material up. I know the channel's been kind of dormant lately, especially since kicking off the Bite Down boxing podcast. So Pay Me No Mind kind of went to the wayside for a minute, but we're getting ready to rev some things back up. And, I'm just wasting some time until this flight I can board in like another 2 hours. So again, this is your man Wood. You know how to find me. That's about it. Peace.